During the month of August, we're going to talk about health. I know you're excited.
Yeah.
Do you realize that everyone could be healthier? We all have stuff we could be working on. We all have things that we could heal. Every one of us holds a thought that brings us discomfort, or we have relationships that are not balanced, or we have a physical ache or pain, or we have a belief of lack in prosperity. Have I hit everybody so far? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So you can see that when we hold these things in our consciousness, that they will vibrate into discomfort, dis-ease in our world. When we are demonstrating harmony, prosperity, love, and support, we are in a state of health. When we are not, there's something to work on. So, and in of course we call healing, we define it as a restoration to wholeness. And wholeness is when we know our oneness in God's love. Okay? That's our goal. We do teach that thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs become biology. As you walk around with irritation in your world, day in and day out, it may take 20, 30, 40 years, but that irritation is going to manifest somewhere in your physicality. So if we could get our beliefs and our thoughts and our relationships and everything around us moving in harmony, wouldn't that be better than waiting for what we're not dealing with to manifest? Okay, all right. What you think today that creates anxiety and fear and discomfort in your mind will eventually create discomfort in your body. Okay. So if we just start with that as a basic premise and start that we can all heal something. We're all needing to refine ourselves in some way. Not stealing a healing. It came down very quickly and it was like, oh, well, that's kind of funny. That's a funny little thing. So I don't know if I'll keep that title or not. I ended up keeping the title. I wasn't really sure why I kept the title. So we're going to explore it from that perspective. We've never really looked at it that way before. So stealing is when you take something without permission, something that is not yours by divine right. You take something that is not yours by divine right. Got it? Okay. So in metaphysical definition of stealing is you're taking something that you cannot receive of your own accord. You do not have the vibration within yourself to draw it to you. You don't believe in yourself, therefore you reach out to take it from someone else. Does that make sense? Okay, because we know we are creating our reality. So when we are open and receptive, all of our needs are supplied and supported. When we have a belief in lack or limitation, we create blocks in our body to the amount that we can receive. We block what we can receive. If I talk to you about prosperity blocks, what you are doing to block your prosperity, would not each and every one of you get out a pen and paper and write down everything I say about how to open up those blocks?
Yes.
Yes, you would, and then you go about trying to do it. If I talk to you about blocks in your vital life force, you know what you tell me? I got it. I can handle it. This is exactly how I need it to be. I'm on top of it. I'm managing. Everything is manageable. So don't talk to me, because if you talk to me, I'm going to have to change something. And if I change something, I'm going to tip the balance of my reality, and then I'm not going to know where I'm going. It's going to go out of control, and I'm not going to feel good. So don't rock the boat. Do you see? How many times have you heard someone say to you, don't fix it if it ain't broke? Oh, I just want to say, I hear it breaking. That sucker is breaking. Why don't we fix it now, before we have an emergency? And the old consciousness is, let's have the emergency. Let's let it crescendo up into something that makes us deal with it. All right. Before I go into this, let me just say this. We all deal with physical illnesses. We all deal with learning. We're here to learn. So we learn through our conversations, we learn through the broken things that we make, We learn through physical illnesses. We're seeing what beliefs we're holding in our body about ourselves, and we're learning. So I'm not saying that we all don't go through a physical manifestation of discomfort. Do you understand? What I want us to do now is not go back and be upset at ourselves for being physically ill. I want us to think about what we can do to have a healthier, vital life force going forward. So do not hear me say if you have a headache, you're bad. Do not hear me say if you get sick, you're bad. Not at all. I had a very, very dear friend that I loved completely, who I went to the hospital to visit. And she was having a moment in an illness. And I prayed with her, chatted with her, blah, blah, blah. I walked out of the hospital, and I told Patrick, and I'm still emotional about it. I told Patrick, I'm not allowed to go back. This is something that she has chosen to experience, and she needs to do the medical path, and she needs her family to rally around her now because they never have. This has been set up, and I know she's going to be fine. And I told her in the hospital, you're going to be fine. She goes, I know I'm going to be fine. I just got to go through this stuff. I said, yes, you do. But it was so crystal clear to me, that wasn't my business. She needed it for her and her family. And that brought them together, and she walked that path, and she did heal, and she was great. But my little fingers were out of that pie because it was for her. Do you see how we will use things for our blessing? But do you not think she felt comfort even as she walked through it instead of discomfort? Because her soul knew, this is good, I'm going to be okay. Do you hear the difference? When we're walking through a challenge, there's a certain bit, remember we talked about the rightness of life? There's a certain bit of, it's hard now, but I know I'm going to get through it, and this is right for me. So we choose our avenues. I want you to really hear me. We choose it, but as metaphysicians now, maybe we can wake up and choose something a little different. So that's our premise this morning. The healing process, the very first step is to recognize a pattern that isn't working for you. Okay, so here's your pop quiz. How many of you eat food that you know is going to upset your stomach? And you eat it anyway. Oh, that's a pretty good majority. And do you have Toms or something at the ready to put in your tummy? No. Yep, some of them do. Okay? Your body is telling you something about that food.
No.
And what are you saying to your body?
I don't care.
Deal with it. Deal with it. How often do you say things that you know are going to eventually bring you down or upset you or whatever? They're not healthy to come out of your mouth. You should just leave it alone, but you say it anyway. Only one hand on that one. Do you realize you're actually suppressing what your body is telling you? The body is not comfortable with what you're doing because it is blocking your vital life force. Your vital life force, that's your essence of who you are. That's what makes you feel great, makes you want to get up and go in the morning. But we consciously shut it up. We consciously say, be quiet. I got this. Oh, I can say that. I got this. Oh, I can eat that. I got my Tums. Ready to go. See? What if we began to truly listen? What if you don't listen? What if you keep doing that? What do you think the body's going to continue to do? The body will be sedated, and that's what you do. You sedate the body. You give it something, you give it a little aspirin, give it something, tell it to be quiet. But the energy that you put to quiet it, remember the law of energy, it amplifies that which is there so it can force against it. So it increases it. It increases it. So when you have those signals, it's best to go in and ask about them. Why am I feeling this? What is this blocking me in some way? It could be just a little simple thing. Maybe it's not the whole hot dog. Maybe it's just the relish on the hot dog. Maybe you can still have the hot dog. I don't know. Do you understand? But we need to start listening a little bit more. Jesus said there's two types of people. The type of people that tear down the spirit of one another, and those that build up the race. Now, what if we looked at energy that way? There are energy experiences that tear down My vital life force, the spirit of who I am, and energy experiences that build me up. So if we look at it that way, then that which builds me up will help my vital life force. And roller skating today may be great for you. Roller skating tomorrow may not. You have to stay in touch. You have to stay in touch with what makes me feel good and what makes me feel like I'm locking something down. Now that kind of sounds like following your guidance. And I'm really talking about following the guidance, the body guidance that you're getting. All right. Recognizing a pattern that isn't working. You can't keep telling it to be quiet. It will escalate eventually in pain. And pain is a simple message that says stop. You need to look at something. Stop doing what you're doing and pay attention to me. Do you realize that? Pain in any situation, pain in a work situation, pain in a relationship, physical pain. I learned from the massage therapist that if you have physical pain in your body, go dig in that pain. Massage it. Get in there. Get that muscle to relax. And it does hurt, doesn't it, when you first go to that which is painful? But in a few minutes, it lets go. It's the attention to what is there. Same with our relationships. It's painful. This situation, you put attention to it, to ask, what could be better for me? What do I need to look at here? What am I doing that's causing constriction to create a sense of discomfort? Okay? I want to read to you out of the Aquarian. Everybody take a breath. Say, I love my vital life force. That was great. You guys are awesome. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you a story about people that you won't understand, probably. But I'm going to tell you about them anyway. This is at the end of Jesus' first year. He taught 3 years in Israel. It's the end of the first year, and they had been doing a lot of healing. And I believe he's in Capernaum now. So he has been doing some healings and teachings, and it says he had gone to meditate without his disciples. And when he came back, Peter said, the city of Capernaum is wild. The people crowd the streets, and every public place is filled. The men, the women, and the children everywhere are asking for the man who heals by will. Your home, are filled with people who are sick. And they call for Jesus, who is called the Christ. What will we say to them? And Jesus said, a score of other cities call. We must take the bread of life and go. Call them in. Not what you think of Jesus, is it? But can you imagine the energy of the city alive with people demanding to be healed? Can you imagine the vibration of everybody trying to rush in to get the best seat, getting in where they can be healed, going to whatever house they think he's going to be at? Just feel the heightened energy of it. It says that he left and he went and taught in other places, and then he was on his way to Tiberias and he saw a leper. And of course the leper said, would you heal me? And Jesus said, sure. So the leper was healed, and Jesus said to the leper, now go to the priest. Show yourself to the priest, which is the law, the Jewish law. Don't tell anybody what happened. We know the story. What happened to the leper? He went in the city. He got them all riled up. He went into the city, telling everybody what happened. They're all getting excited. They're all starting to rush in a mad rush yet again toward Jesus. And it said they came in throngs and pressed upon Jesus and the 12. They were so importunate, which means demanding. They were so demanding that little could be done. And so they left the crowded thoroughfare. They went to the desert places where they taught the multitudes that followed, and they healed them. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. We have this wild throng of people demanding healing. And Jesus says, okay, I cannot do anything in this energy of importunance. So they went to the wilderness, and those who followed into the wilderness were taught and healed. Those who were ready to receive. Those who were ready to take a step to change. That's the difference. When we get into our pain and our discomfort, have you ever done this with your spouse or your partner, you look at them and you're like, ah, you got to change now, you're killing me.
Maybe once.
Okay. And do they? Do they just miraculously change? No, they dig in and look worse. The demanding energy has no receptivity in you. You're not receptive to them changing. You're demanding. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the demanding energy that is not able to heal because it is not ready to change. You change. Oh, I should change? Yes. I have to be willing to change in order to heal. I have to be willing, and don't you get demanding when you're hurting? When you're hurting and you've been denying it and denying it and denying it and denying it, and now it's a mountain, and now it's in front of your face, and you're standing in front of the mountain, and you're not standing in front of the mountain with faith and love saying, move to the sea, mountain. You're standing in front of the face saying, darn you, mountain, how'd you get there? And you're angry and you're demanding that it stop doing what it's been doing to you this whole time, and the whole time you've been telling it to be quiet instead of dealing with it. Do you see? Now I've been there many times. I would like to tell you I never go there these days. One day I'll be able to tell you that. One of my goals. Okay. He goes back to Capernaum in the very same chapter. And when he goes back to Capernaum, what is he met with? The throngs. Everybody wants their turn. So they all gather up, they all get into the city. And this is the story where he's teaching. He's teaching in a house. And the house is packed. No one can get in the door. And there are the 4 men who have a sick man on a cot, and they can't get in. So they take the man up to the roof, and they drop him right in front of Jesus. Remember the story? Mm-hmm. And Jesus said, because of y'all's faith, you 4, the 4 of you who brought him, because of your faith, he will be healed. Because you guys went out of your way to find a way to get him to me. Not for you, for him. Do you see? That beautiful energy of love allowed that man to receive. And it required some shift, something different. Are you hearing it a little bit? Okay. When you are willing to move, when you are willing to change, the healing can come in. In Aquarian 108, this is toward the end of his ministry, he says, again, we don't talk about these people demanding healings, do we? I don't hear about them very often. 108, let's see. The multitudes were wild with selfish thought. None regarded the rights and needs of any other. The stronger pushed the weak aside and trampled on them in their haste to be the first to get the blessing for himself. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the belief that would create that? Lack, that there's not enough. There is not enough God to go around, and therefore I need to be the first in there. Because it's all about me. Behold the cage of beasts untamed, Jesus said, a den of stinging vipers maddened by their fiendish greed. I tell you, men, the benefits that come to men who see no further than themselves are baubles in the morning light. They are unreal, they pass away. The selfish soul is fed today, but the food does not assimilate. The soul grows not, and then it must be fed again and again. And then he does a parable, and he says there was a man who had a faulty thought, a negative belief. And he came in and took the healing, but did not change. And you can take the healing and clear your mind, but then he said, what follows next, because your mind is clear, that you will now have 7 come back. It will multiply, because you did not change your attitude toward it. You took it instead of receiving it. You didn't change anything. And he says, the man would be 7 times worse than before, because the energy was not about receiving. It was about taking. And he said, so it is with you who snatch the blessings that belong to other men. You know, in metaphysics, and I know you guys don't do this, right? But in metaphysics, don't we always say, is this for my highest and best good? Is this for me? What do we teach when you're picking the crystal to take home for you? Ask it, or where's mine? My crystal's right there. That's the one I'm going to take. You ask, is this for me? Is this not for me? Because we want that which supports us by divine right. We don't want to take the one that Rich is looking at something that looks fabulous, and I kind of might want it, but he's going to get it. Well, I'm just going to take it because I might decide I want it, and that way I can have it, and Rich can find something else. Do you see? In our world, that consciousness still exists. In the world that we are creating, that consciousness does not. Is this mine by divine right? Is there enough? Do you remember when Jesus in his early years was healing in another country, and there was a fountain that the spirit of their God would touch once a year, and when the water started to tremble, everybody that got into the water was healed? And Jesus said, why are you guys waiting? Why would a God only give you healing once a year? Go into the waters. They're full of healing potency right now. And everybody started rushing into the waters, and there was this little girl who couldn't walk. And he said to her, does no man help you? And she said, when the people who have little faith are done, I'm going to go in and stay a really long time. And I'm going to get all the healing I need. And you remember he lifted her up. Jesus grabbed her, lifted her up. He said, Master soul, there is healing in the air. Just breathe it in. And she breathed and she was healed. That supply and support that is available to all of us at every level, no matter what we're learning, no matter what we're going through, is limitless. It's limitless. And it's all around us in every moment. But it requires us to wake up to what we're telling to be quiet within our system. Do you understand? Can you all think of one thing in your world that you're saying be quiet to? Be quiet. Just be quiet. I don't want to talk. I'm going to take an aspirin, take a pill. I'm going to take my Tums. I'll deal with that later. Or I just won't talk to that person anymore. Did you ever cut anybody out of your life? I have two.
This week
Do you realize?
On Facebook.
Do you realize what that does to your vital life force when you do that? It sets up a wall. Instead of just saying, oh, I love you, and we've had a silly disagreement. You may not be vibrating with me today, but I don't have to pretend like I shall never speak to you again. I don't have to deem you lower than me, judge you. Could you not feel when you do that, there's a part of you that goes, and it hurts. It sucks in, it hurts. And I will tell you, that is the very person you will meet in this next lifetime that you're choosing. You will meet that very person and all the others that you deemed not connected to you. Yes.
I got some connected to do. I want to see it again.
We are all God's children. If we love each other, honor, and release, you can certainly release. But it's those walls. You can release. Forgive and release, let them be free. Give them free passage through your mind without hostility and judgment. But the walls. Health is vital life force flowing. Vital life force flowing. I am a child of God, therefore I can travel wherever I need to travel. Do whatever I need to do, have whatever lesson I need to have, and I can choose how I have that lesson. If we just think to pay attention to what we are telling to be quiet. Okay? Everybody say, I'm getting it.
Great.
I will close with this one little story from the aquarium, which is very familiar. This is toward the end of Jesus' healing, and he is walking through the throngs. He's going to heal a child that's sick. He's walking through the throngs. They're all around him. He's on a mission from God now. Got to go. And this woman who has been sick, she's been bleeding her whole life virtually, says in her mind, if I can even touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. Now, she could have said, if I can just be in the same city he's in, I'd be healed. And would she have been healed? Yes. But she touches the hem of his garment. Jesus stops and he says, who touched me? And Peter said, what is wrong with you? 1 million people are touching you. And he said, no. This is what he says. Someone touched me with faith and healing thought. And healing virtue just left my body and went to them. And he said to the crowd, who touched me? And she said, I did. And she came forward and she bowed. With faith and healing thought, she believed and she was receptive. She was ready to change. She was ready to do whatever it took to shift her world. Whatever it took. Faith and healing thought. And he felt that. He felt it move from her. Everybody else touched him with demand, other energy. Do you see? And he just, okay, wait, there's one. Faith and healing thought. What a beautiful way to cut right through the crowd, to cut right through whatever's going on, and bring whatever comfort, ease you need into your world so you can shift and change. Does that make sense? Okay. So we recognize and acknowledge, just acknowledge what's happening in your world. Be willing to change. You need to leave your town if you want to follow the teacher. You need to have faith if you want to follow the teacher. You need to do something. Be willing to change something in your world so it's not the same. I got it, it's not changing. And when you say, I got it and I'm stressed out, good luck with that. Because that's how you're going to be until you're willing to change it. Okay? All right. Be willing to change something to receive the newness. And lift your thoughts higher than what created the illness. The faith. She had faith. She lifted higher. The men who brought the cot had faith and lifted higher. We have to lift higher than the limitation that created the illness. Don't you know every time you look at something that's bothering you, if you look at it, you're not looking to fight it, you're looking to resolve it. So now your mind is here. It's not here. You're not justifying your position, you're not defending your position, you're not fighting for your right to have that position. You're going, okay, it's got to stop. Let me go up here. What can I do to heal this? We're lifting above. Does that make sense? Okay, we're lifting above the level that we created it in. And we're receptive. One of the things that I would like to learn is what our world would look like. What would we do if every person loved themselves? What would it look like if everybody in the world believed in the abundance of the universe, the abundance that is literally here in matter already, and we just accepted love and harmony as a password? That's how we're going to do it. Then I think our lessons would not come in healing format, they'd come in creation format. Oh, I think I'll create this. Oh, I don't like that. I think I'll create this. Oh, I'll erase that. You know? We would learn in a different way. We would learn in a different way. And we start that path of learning through creativity when we acknowledge what isn't working for us. Does that, you guys with me? Okay, so we're going to acknowledge, be willing to change. Willing to change lets you be receptive. Have that faith to lift into a higher round, higher perception. And then take the step. So, you can't just put a Band-Aid on it. You can't just eat a digestive aid. We want to start working at the core. Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, put your feet on the floor. Let's just breathe and feel that beautiful heart of God moving through you. See a beautiful column of light. And just lift up that column of light. And as you lift, feel the energy becoming strong and bright around you. And let's just lift up into a beautiful sacred space, like a brilliant light that you can touch that's all around you. Move into a space where you can feel the love of God, the love of Jesus Christ, but the very air is filled with energy. For me, it feels like a fluffy cloud and I'm in the center of it. For you, it could feel like anything. But I want you to feel that there is no limitation, there are no boundaries to this space. Can you feel that? You are standing in the unlimited supply and support of God. For you. Anything that you want to experience is there for you. And if you're ready, just take a breath. Let's breathe in vital life force. Just breathe it into your body. Take a breath. Breathe in energy. I ask that the vital life force of God move through me now. And feel it moving from your feet all the way to the top of your head. And out your arms. And become aware that you do love this body. I love this body. This beautiful vehicle. And take another breath. Breathe in. Greater life force. Vital life force. And let it anchor in your heart. And I love my spirit. Feel the unlimited energy all around you. And know that you can come here any moment and take in all that you need. Feel the love of God. Feel the peace. Very gently come down the column of light, bringing this energy with you. Feel the chair that you sit on. Feel your heart. What do you choose? Father, Mother God, I ask that you bless each one here today with joy, prosperity, peace, and health, restoration to wholeness. Let us go forth knowing we are the divine child in a beautiful playground of love. And we thank you for this. And just breathe and gently send your love into the room. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. This week, just think vital life force. Can you do that?
Yes.
Just bring in vital life force. And see how much your focus will shift. Say, yay, God.
Yeah.